Hi, welcome to Labelist, the #1 label software for Macintosh, and the fastest way to create labels, envelopes, and letterhead on your computer. When you first launch Labelist, a new document window will appear, and you'll be asked to choose the type of project that you want to create. We're going to create some labels, so I'll press Continue. And now I can choose the type of label that I'm going to be creating. And there's a bunch of different types to choose from, and you can also choose the manufacturer who creates the label stock that you're using. In my case, I have some Avery label stock, and I'm going to be creating some 4x2-inch shipping labels. And you can see a little preview of what that one page of this Avery label stock looks like here to the side. So I'll press Continue. And I can choose now whether I want to start with a ready-made design, and the software has built into it a bunch of ready-made designs, or you can start with a blank design. We're going to start with a blank design. And the software is going to ask if I want the design completely blank, or if the software can automatically add a return or a delivery address for me. A return address means that each of the labels would contain my personal address. You'll want to use the delivery address if you're going to be sending labels or put it to other people, contacts in your address book. So I'm going to go ahead and choose to add a delivery address to my label. When you first start working with a new document, the software is automatically placed into design mode. Design mode is where you can edit the document, add to your design. Once you have the label the way you want it, you can switch to preview mode, which is where it will be populated with actual contact data from your address book. This is where you see the sheets of labels. So while we're here in design mode, let's go over a few things. Over here on the right hand side there are 4 tabs: your graphics tab, text tab, fields tab, and favorites. Let's start with the graphics tab. The graphics tab contains a bunch of shapes that you can use on your design. So if I want to put this little gear shape on my design, I can adjust it, make all kinds of changes. This little smart inspector here lets me change things like the stroke color. I can fill it with a solid color if I'd like, or I can choose from the smart inspector a gradient if I'd like to do something a little crazier. Set a linear gradient and totally control the colors. I can add a drop shadow. I can move this around. I can make it semi-transparent. All kinds of different things. And I also have the option of adding actual artwork to my design. And Labelist comes with a bunch of artwork. Because of its size, you need to click this Download Free iScrap Kits to download this separate artwork and install it. But once you have those kits installed, you'll see that a preview of each of the kits, and if you control click on a preview, you can see a really large preview that shows you all of the artwork in that kit. And then to start using that artwork, all you do is just click on all kits, choose the type of artwork that you're looking for. I'll just go ahead and have it show me everything, and now I can scroll through here and look for exactly what it is I want to put on my design. And of course, you also have access to all of your photos from iPhoto or Aperture, and drag them right to our design as well. So since this is a shipping label, I'm going to go ahead and delete some of these graphics. Let's start with this delivery address block. As you can see, this delivery address block, it already has some fields filled into it. It has a first and a last name of the contact that we're sending this or creating this label for, the company name of the contact, and then the address of the contact. And you can choose from a bunch of pre-made delivery address blocks, and you can choose ones that have the title of the person you're sending it to, or there's some fancy ones that include the name of the spouse, a wedding invitation style. We're just going to stick with this basic one, and we're going to resize it a little bit. And then we're going to move this photo over here and resize it so it's not quite so big. And then we'll put the name of the family underneath it. So we'll add a text box, move it underneath, and we will center the text. And we will type in the name of the family, since this label is going to be from the Smith family. And now we will switch to preview mode to see how this works in action. So let's click preview, and we can see that we have our first label here, and it's being addressed to this first contact that I have selected. If I hold down the Command or Option keys, I can select multiple contacts right from the address book that I want to create a label for. There are some options down here at the bottom. You can choose to repeat each label multiple times. So if you want to create a couple different labels to each person, you'll see that each contact now has a label repeated twice. We'll just leave it at 1. You can choose which label on the sheet you want to start at. So maybe I want to start on the second row in the second column. And you might want to do this if you've already used some labels on a sheet and you want to use the remaining labels on that sheet so you don't waste labels. We'll go ahead and switch it back to the top. And finally, you can choose the draw order, which rows and columns it draws on when it puts the labels on, and then you can add barcodes automatically, shipping barcodes above or below. And this is the U.S. postal barcode that you have the option of automatically adding, or you can manually add them. If you select lots of contacts, multiple pages of labels will show up in the preview, so you can see exactly how many sheets of labels you're going to need and where they're going to end on those sheets. And when you're ready to print, just press print and the standard print window will appear. Okay, let's talk about fields a little bit more. Normally a delivery or return address block is added automatically for you, but you can create your own as well, just by creating a text box, placing it where you want, erasing the text that's in there, and then flipping over here to the Fields tab. And this is where you get to choose whether you want to use return address fields or delivery address fields. We'll stick with delivery for now. And you can choose the individual fields that you want placed on your label. So maybe you just want the person's last name, and maybe you want to put an extra space in between, and then you want the person's address. We'll come down here to address fields and say I want the person's primary address inserted in, and then maybe there's some other additional piece of information you want listed, like a phone number on the label. Go ahead and put that in, and then you can individually change the font for any of this text. Even though it's a field, it acts just as any other text. So I'm going to go ahead and say let's make it bold and the last name extra big. And you can even type in something different. So maybe I'll type in customer like that, and then change that text to a different color like that. So now if we switch to preview mode and select a few contacts, you'll see that the information shows up exactly using the fields that we chose. I just created a brand new envelope document, and as you can see in the upper left hand corner here, it has a return address field with a logo, and it has a delivery address block in the center. And one of the interesting things that happens when I switch to preview mode and select a contact, you'll see that nothing is showing up here in the upper left hand corner, and that's because I need to tell the software who I am. And so if I go to Preferences and select the Me preference, I can select the contact that represents me and say make this my card, and then I can choose a logo, and it will automatically fill in that information for me now. So as I select multiple contacts here to create envelopes for, my information shows up. I can add a barcode below the delivery address, and it automatically adds it. And then I could go ahead and print these envelopes. And in regards to envelope printing, the software lets you choose to let it kind of take over and make sure things are aligned correctly, or you can manually set the way you want the envelope to be fed into your printer. And the option you choose, this depends upon your printer and the way it works. But this little envelope wizard takes a lot of the guesswork out of printing envelopes. We hope this brief video helps you get started with the software. Thanks for watching and have a great day.